Welcome everyone to Football No Filter. We are back for another episode number 17. Esta promete, no te preocupes. Uh, with my I'm Bruno Crack, with the co-host George. George, how are you today? Estás todo
Was
português?
Hoje é tudo português, tudo CR7 over here.
CR7, tira, mete. O gajo, já
Mais
sabes, ó
nada.
Steph. O Steph agora esquece. And now we got the new promoted man. Steph, how are you? You're congratulations, you got promoted. We're not gonna say what you are because it's for the you might attract too many females or males. We don't know.
Já sou casado, meu. Eu não posso meter nessas coisas.
No,
I'm doing
tu
great.
estás sempre a perguntar ao Jorge para ir ao Elefante Branco. E agora já tens um homem casado.
Eu sou um homem casado e feliz com dois putos bacanas, refilões, mas bacanas. So I have no complaints about my personal life. The only complaint I have is against Frederico Varandas, this piece of shit.
I know, I'm just busting chops. All right. So let's get to it. We had week 3 this past weekend. It was definitely an interesting one. I will read you guys the score as soon as this stupid ad gets out of the way. Let me see the schedule here. Okay, so we had Moreirense and Boa Vista 1-1. Guimarães and Passo Ferreira 1-0 for Vitória de Guimarães. Santa Clara and Gil Vicente with the return of fans 0-0. Porto got upset at home to Marítimo 3-2. Tondela got blasted at home, Braga 4-0. Nacional and Belenenses tied 0-0. Famalicão and Rio Ave drew 1-1. Benfica 3, Farense 2. And Portimonense 0, Sporting 2. The table looks as follows. Benfica with 9, Santa Clara 7, Porto, Sporting, Marítimo all with 6. In 6th place, Nacional with 5, Gil Vicente, Moreirense, Belenenses, Guimarães, and Famalicão with 4. Braga now at 12 with 3, Rio Ave 3, Boa Vista in 14th with 2, Passo Ferreira, Portimonense, and Tondela 1, and Farense is the only team after 3 games with a goose egg, 0 points. We'll start off with the first match of the big 3. But before we do that, in terms of the other games, any scores that stood out to you? We'll start with you, George. Any scores that stood out to you from the other games outside the big 3?
Well, I think the Braga game. I think we've been waiting for a good performance by Braga, an explosion by Braga, and they did that. So let's see what happens the next couple of weeks. Promet, good team, and a really good coach. Really good structura also, great president, great facilities. So, a great formação as well. So let's see what happens the next couple of games. But, I think that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for Braga to, start scoring some goals and getting some wins. So let's see what happens now.
Okay. Steph, same question. Any game that stood out to you outside the big 3?
Braga finally won 4-0 in a very convincing way. And also the Rio Ave Guimarães was a good game. The tie is not a bad result for Guimarães. It's tough to win at Vila de Conde, and they have a good coach, a good team. So it was I watched that game because I was off that day, and it was actually a very entertaining game. And I'm expecting Rio Ave and Guimarães to give us a lot of headaches to our clubs because they have decent teams. They just need a couple more games under their belt to start gelling, and it's a benefit if either Sporting Porto Benfica plays them now, but because it's still not in sync. Because later on, it's going to be a headache.
I would agree with that. Okay. I'm gonna move forward. Porto 2, Vitor. Sorry. Marítimo was 3. It was Dio Costa in goal, Manafá, the right back Pep, Mavimba, and Tels, Otavio Oliveira, Danilo Pereira, and Diaz, Corona, and Marega up top. I don't agree with the application because I think we were in a 4-3-3, so it was a little different. As for Marítimo, we had his name is Abdezadeh. Amiri, right? That's Amir Abdezadeh. I wanted to say his last name, but I can't do it.
The goalie?
Yeah.
Didn't you guys interview him with three Tugas?
Yeah, but I know him by Amir, but I wanted to say his last name, but I can't say it correctly. So I don't want to insult the man. We had Nanu, Wink, Junior, Afriku, and Hermes as the left back. Jean, Rene, and Correa in the middle, followed by Geterson and Rodrigo Pinho up top. So the way this game started, I mean, Porto and Marítimo played a pretty open game. I have to say, I have to be very critical. I think there was a couple of players that just played subpar. The first guy, I think, we have to say that had a pretty bad game was Alex Delge, and it wasn't more offensively. I'm talking about defensively. I don't think he played a particularly good game. Danilo did not play well. Otavio, I think, was off. Luis Diaz was put in the starting lineup. I don't think he didn't play bad, but he didn't play great either. Corona was very marked. He had a lot of trouble on that side to get free. He was mainly on the left side, and he was battling Nanu. He couldn't beat Nanu. And another guy that I have to mention was Mavimba, who has been one of their best center backs. And on the first goal, he got eaten alive by Rodrigo Pinho. Porto had 28 shots. 28 shots. We were able to score 2 goals. I think Marítimo had 4 shots on goal, and they scored 3 goals. And I'm talking about shots on goal. I think they had
Não pagou a internet.
11 total. O check ainda não chegou. O check ainda não chegou, né? I'm waiting for my stimulus check.
O gajo frisou como o Porto lá nas Antas.
Yeah. Mas pelo menos temos um campeonato. Agora vocês nem campeonato, nem Liga Europa, nem o caralho.
Estás em campeonato, estás a falar do ano passado?
Pois, do ano passado. Não se pode falar deste ano. Ainda é muito cedo.
Há pouco tempo disseste que isso era passado, que agora temos de falar no futuro.
Do presente ou futuro, podemos.
Não tem nada, então.
Well, right now, what I'm trying to say is I don't think that we played very well. Did we deserve to lose? I think by the way that we played, yeah, we could say that we deserve to lose. Did we do enough to win? Yeah, we did enough to win. I mean, Amir made some hell of saves. He made about 3 or 4 stops that were above average quality saves. The goals that we gave up were very infantile. The first one, I mean, Alex Delge was completely out of position. Mavimba got eaten alive, and Dio Costa couldn't do anything about that shot that was hooked to the far post. The second goal was the ball off the crossbar and a free kick. The free kick that, honestly, and this is what I meant about it 2 weeks ago, when there was a foul on Manafá. I mean, not Manafá, on Marega. It was a foul. It was a ridiculous foul. There was no need to make that type of foul. Why are you going to make a type of foul, that type of foul, in that area of the field. It was unnecessary because you had support right behind you. You got beat. There was still 1 to 2 guys that you still have to dribble through. That wouldn't happen. And I didn't understand why they made a foul. It hit the crossbar. Ball goes in on a rebound. The third one. I mean,
Right.
the third one was the third one. I mean, there was really not much you could do on the third
Oh,
goal.
what?
Because it was a ball. I mean, it
What
was a
time?
counter attack. Everybody was forward. They took advantage of
So who's doing it?
they took
Oh,
advantage of
okay. Fuck that.
the Steph. Could you
Why
put
would
your
we?
Steph? Could you put yourself on mute?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, brother.
Um, the third one was a counter attack. Everybody was forward. Porto got caught again. Alex Dells got caught out of position, and Nanu. I mean, you can't give a professional that type of space. He's gonna power it home, and that's exactly what he did. We're gonna debate. We're gonna talk about the goal, no goal. Was it a goal? Was it not a goal? Was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? All that other stuff. What should have been should have been the penalty been repeated or not? We're gonna talk about all that in a second. I'll leave that up to my compadres here to talk because I'm pretty sure they have their opinion. Steph, go ahead. What did you think of this game?
I mean, you pretty much nailed the head of of everything you just said. It's right on point, and I think Porto facilitated too much. I have to say that some of the Maritim goals were like Fugic, rockets, and it was not like easy goals. They got it. I don't see Maritim scoring goals like that anytime soon, to tell the truth. But once in a while it happens. They found the net with those amazing rockets, especially o Nanu, aquele gol, foda-se, foi petardo do caralho. Uh, but I still think that your goalie could have saved it. I don't know. I mean, I
No,
saw the I saw the replay and I was like, I don't know.
no chance. No chance.
You don't think so? I mean, how many
No,
feet away was it?
dude, it was outside the 18-yard box, but
Yeah, yeah,
by the time that
yeah.
he took a shot near post, by
Push.
the time quando ele lançou essa bola, a bola já estava dentro, man. Não havia
For
hipótese.
this, I don't know. I mean, okay, so let's give the benefit of the doubt to your goalie, but it was a hell of a shot. I'll admit that. Maritim played a very consistent game, and they deserved to win because they never gave up. Usually, teams like Marítimo and when they go to Azantes, they feel intimidated. Well, not on that game. They fought well and they played well. But shame on Porto because playing at home. But again, without the fans, it's a different ball game. Uh, but playing at home, they got to win those games. And I kept on saying that the whole season about Sporting, and then Porto kind of slipped at home. And that's all I gotta say about the penalty. I don't see why it would have to be repeated. I mean, Porto missed, and that's it. And let's move on. And the goal, aquele gol do. Qual é o gol que estás a falar? Aquele do Marítimo ou do
No,
Porto?
o gol do Porto, the one that
It's
Marega,
almost.
it's on the line,
Oh
on the line,
yes.
off the line.
What's the rule? If the ball is touching a little bit of the line, is not a goal. So
That's that's the rule.
so what's your complaint then? Because I know you're not satisfied.
My complaint is that the ball was over the line.
I don't think so.
No,
A bola é
absolutely not.
oval. A bola é oval. E a parte redonda, you can look at the bottom of the ball,
Correct.
was
Correct.
over the line. And that's
Correct.
how the VAR saw it. I know it sucks, Bruno, because if
No,
it
no,
was
no.
me as a Sportingista, I would be pissed as well. But the rules are rules. They suck now because the VAR exists. But to
But here's
me,
the problem, Steph. So we're
Mhm.
talking about that still shot, correct? Yes or no?
Mhm.
Okay. So in the still shot, you see the ball rolling. The defender's foot is not touching the ball. So there is a distance between the defender's foot and the ball's still rolling back. By the time he connects with the ball's still rolling back. It's over the line.
Listen, I can only see what we see on TV, and what I saw was the ball. The picture they took was the ball was barely touching the line, and I hate that. I mean, I don't hate that because I'm not a portista, but if it happened to Sporting, I would hate that too. But that's why they canceled the goal, and the VAR. I'm pretty sure. How long did they take to make that decision?
Well, that's another issue. How does the referee not even go and check the VAR?
He doesn't have to, but that's the thing. In Portugal, they have to stop with that silly mentality. You have to trust your coworkers inside the van or at Nacidad do Futebol. If they say, "Hey, we checked it," why wouldn't you trust them? Why do you have to waste time and go to the camera? Other leagues, they're not doing that because they totally trust each other. Hey, if you're telling me 100% it's not a goal, then I believe you. And it has to be that kind of relationship.
I,
Senão não
I
vale a pena.
I disagree because we've seen in the past where we've complained about certain plays where how does the referee not go to the VAR and check it out? Because I don't even know who the VAR was. I don't remember off the top of my head.
But I think they're trying to go away from that. They I think now what they're trying to do is, hey, believe me, and when I make the call, I make the correct call. And you're right. It's up to the referee of the pitch to insist. No, I still want to see. But if he believes his colleague, then he believes him.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Steph, because
There's nothing to
I think
disagree with me. All I'm saying is it's up to the referee on the pitch. If he
no.
says I don't want to see because I trust you, then it's good enough for him.
Okay, so I'm gonna use the other criteria about the penalty. So you guys are gonna say that it wasn't a penalty, correct? On Marega?
O penalty did
Clearly not a penalty.
Okay,
the one that you missed.
correct.
Yes.
Well, you missed it anyway, so I don't
Okay,
really care.
but Steph, was it a penalty? Yes or no?
No, he cleared the ball before there was contact.
Steph, yes or no?
Foi forçado como o de Sporting a semana passada.
Okay, pronto. All right. So now the debate is why didn't the referee go to the VAR and check it for himself?
He doesn't have to because he trusts his
Why?
colleague.
He trusted his colleague. Was his colleague right or wrong?
Well, we don't know if we forçado. If
it wasn't a penalty, Steph. It wasn't a penalty. He cuts the ball first. It wasn't a penalty. So my point is that
hold on. Let me hit the rewind button. What did you say?
I know.
It wasn't a penalty.
If you can show me where it said that there was a penalty, that I said
Corona?
George, I'm in Sosego. To me, it wasn't a penalty. To me, it wasn't a penalty. And if you're gonna go there, if you're gonna say, oh well, he has to go and he has to check what the referee said. The referee has to check what the VAR is saying because the referee flat out said, no, it's a penalty. That's it. He override everybody. You could be the VAR and you can say, hold on, George. You can be the VAR and say, look, man, hey George, you got to check this play out because I'm really dubious about this. And you're the referee, and I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna look at it. I seen it, I heard it, I saw it with my own eyes. It's not a penalty, or it's a penalty, and that's it. And he overrides the VAR no matter what. You could be screaming up and down, and the VAR has no say.
My opinion on this, I like the way it's done in the Premiership, where there's on the screens, on the stadium screens, there's a notice that it's being reviewed by the VAR. The decision is made by the VAR. The referee does not go and look at any of the images. The problem is that you can't do it in Portugal because of calls such as the PK, where everybody sees that it's not a PK. And then the question is, how doesn't this guy even go to the VAR? How doesn't he even go to the VAR? And how is he? You could see that he's listen. Now you can see. Let me change my words. The perception is that he's trying to speed up the game so the penalty gets taken without anything being done, and that's the problem in Portugal and why you can't do it like in England, because we don't trust the referees because the referees are doing sneaky shit. You could tell they're doing sneaky shit. And that's the problem. If you had referees or if you had an arbitrage that is trustworthy, then yeah. you do it the way they do it in England. You don't have to waste as much time or anything like that. The problem is that in Portugal you can't do it because all these referees are rats. They're all getting paid by team A, B, C, or D. I don't even want to get into that. But you can tell that they're not trustworthy.
Well,
That's my
I mean,
opinion on that.
that's what I'm trying to say. So on the penalty, he called it a penalty, and he did an override on the VAR. He didn't want to hear it. You can hear him, you can see him, and you can read his lips saying, "No, I don't want to hear it. I saw it as a penalty," and that's it. And the VAR could have told him, "Look, you should really take a look at it." And he said no, and it was the wrong call. So going back to the goal, where I think it's a goal, he should have reviewed it because he should try to go and look at every angle possible. Unfortunately, in Portugal, there's no goal line technology. I don't want to hear the story, well, he's got a watch and he's got a signal on the watch. It's incorrect. There's no goal line technology in Portugal. The only time there's goal line technology in Portugal is in the cup finals. That's it. No campeonato, no há nada. So that's a lie. Everyone that was coming out saying it, oh, but there was goal line technology. That's incorrect. That's not true. There is no goal line technology whatsoever.
The problem is the problem is funding. Nobody wants to pay the bill.
Okay, now let's go to the penalty, the actual penalty taken. It was a great save by Amid. Okay, great save by Amid. But if we're gonna go by the rules, and rules are rules, there was 2 Marítimo players inside the box before the PK was taken. It should have been retaken again.
Yeah, that's the rule. I agree with that. But it was justice was done in my point of view.
And Matt, you guys cried all week long or weekend long about a penalty that we missed. Imagine if we scored it. The cows would have to come home.
The same way if it was the other way around.
It could very well be, but I'm going to argue that it was not a penalty. I'm going to argue that the ball was in, and that's that. There is no clear-cut evidence that the ball did not go in. You can say, oh, but there's a still image. The still image is on an angle. I posted a picture in that one Facebook page where it's a ball that is on the line, or it seems to be on the line. It really depends on the angle. There's 4 different angles on that picture. 2 pictures show that it's a goal. 2 other pictures show that it's no goal. We don't know until the ball is in the. There's a camera right on the goal line technology, and that's that. There's no other way to do it. George is going to say. George is going to say no. It's no goal. I'm going to say it's a goal.
George is very, very. When it comes to stuff like that, I think I'm very, very even. If it's a goal, I would say it's a goal, and if it's not a goal, I would say it's not a goal. From what I see, from the picture I see, part of the round piece of the ball is over the line, which means that it's not a goal. Now, do I know this 100%? No. The only way to do it is if you have the goal line technology. But from my experience and from I think in our group, I posted a picture of the call last year in England between Manchester and Liverpool, where it was the same exact thing. But yeah, we had a picture, and it was that part of the roundness of the ball was a little bit that was over the line. So it's tough without the technology. My surprise, and I agree with you 100%, is why not even take a look at the play? Why didn't anyone take a look at the play? That part I agree with you. That's what the VAR is for. Why isn't it being used for such things?
That and that's been my argument. But overall, it was a dismal performance. If we're gonna continue to play like this, you can't be dropping points like this at home. To teams like Marítimo, you got to beat them. That was the first win for Marítimo at the Estádio do Dragão in their history. I think the most they had was 2 draws. Everything else was losses. But they came out with the good strategy of playing with 3 center backs. Porto decided to use only one striker versus two when in a three center back formation. You're going to struggle trying to find space, especially with Marega, who is not very good technically, receiving the ball with his back to goal. He needs balls, in space, played behind defenders where he can use his size and his strength and his speed to beat defenders and run onto the ball and take shots. They weren't able to do that. Regardless, Porto still had plenty of other chances to score enough goals to win the game. They didn't do it. We dropped points, and now we got a whole new team, but we'll talk about that a little later. We'll move forward, and we're going to go to Benfica versus Farense. Benfica wins 3-2. I thought this game was a lot closer than what I expected. So, George, take it away.
So I'll do the lineups, I guess.
Yeah, if you want, I can do them for you if you don't have it up.
Yeah, I have it up, but you go ahead. You could do it.
So you have Vlacadimos in goal, Almeida, Otamendi, Jardel, Grimaldo, Pizzi, Gabriel, and Rafa Silva, Waldschmidt, Nunes, and Everton Cebolinha. For Farense, you had Defendi in goal, Pinto, Cesar, Scheid, and Nunes, Isidro, Falcao, and Idrissi, Ryan Gold, Stolikovic, and Luca up top. Go ahead, George.
Yep. So, like you said before, I was especially coming back from the two wins prior. I think they were pretty convincing wins. I thought that we were going to have a much better game than we did this weekend. I think the team was very lackadaisical. You could say they're very very lazy. I think Rafa really had a really bad game. Not very wasn't very successful with his runs. Luca Waldschmidt, Darwin in the first half really didn't do much. I think the best player the first half for Benfica was Otamendi. Even though we conceded a penalty and all that good stuff, I think he was the best player for Benfica, which tells you a lot. If during a half of soccer your center defender is your best player on the field. Second half we made some changes, bringing in Seferovic towards the end of the game, and we were able to pull off a very very tight game. But I mean, you look at the stats, Farense had more shots on net than we did. They had more shots overall than we did. We had a little bit more possession, 41-59. But fouls, we have more fouls than Farense. Yellow cards, we had the same. Offsides, 4 versus 1. Corners, Benfica only had 3. Farense only had 2. So it was a very, very even game. And Seferovic was the lifesaver for us. So not the performance that I would expect, and especially from Rafa. I'm a very fan of Rafa on that midfield, just because of his tendency to run back and help the midfield when we're caught on the counter. But from an attacking perspective, the team was very, very flat against this Farense. And hopefully next or this week, not this week, then our next game after the Jogos de Seleção, we were able to put together a better performance, because não convenceu nada.
Então não arrasaram este fim de semana?
Não arrasaram, mas estavam também com um bocadinho de anxiety do Porto já ter levado na peida com vaselina e estavam um bocado anxious.
Well, we'll talk about penalties and no penalties, offsides and offsides in a little bit. Steph, what'd you think of the game?
I didn't really watch the game. I saw the highlights, but Otamendi maybe got confused with the blue feature and he thought he was playing against Port. That last goal of of Ferenc. That was a gift from Otamendi. Maybe that's why he was let go from Manchester City. What a gaff! I had to look like 3 times. I thought it was a new center back playing for Benfica. He just can make those mistakes playing at that level for such a big club. So if I was Benfica, I would be totally disappointed with him. Imagine when he plays against Porto, aquilo é sobre as pernas. But with that said, Benfica played good enough to win the game. It should have been 3-1 if Utemani didn't make that huge mistake. But for this, they were kind of dangerous. So it looks like it's going to be, even though they have no points, they played a great game at Stade de Luz, and I can see them being very competitive to fight for it to stay in the first league, but no more than that. But um, entertaining game. I saw the resumo alargado. But I don't think in no time Benfica was going to lose the game, not even tie the game. I mean, the 3-2. It's a very resultado muito enganador because of how the second goal was conceded. Besides that, that's all.
All right. Let's go into offside. There was an offside call for Ferenc on a goal, I believe. Was that offside or not? Steph, yes or no?
I didn't see it. I don't know.
George?
Doesn't mute, George.
George?
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a clear offside.
Okay. Penalty. Should have been retaken, yes or no? George?
The penalty that
Ferenc
missed?
no, they took one and then it was told to be redone, right?
Because of the I'm trying to recall.
Good night.
Players in the box.
People in the box, right? There was a yeah. I mean, yeah. I thought so, yeah.
George, Steph, sorry.
Regras são regras. Rules are rules.
The thing is now they opened up a precedent. So going forward, any player that's in the box has to be called back. Has to be.
I mean,
they opened up a precedent. I don't want to hear it. They opened up a precedent. So going forward, every penalty has to be looked at, and there better not be any players in the boxes. It has to be retaken.
What happened? What happened if that doesn't happen? O que é que tu vais fazer?
There's going to be controversy, Steph.
Aqui no nosso podcast, eles estão-se a cagar para isso.
Só no nosso, não é só no nosso. Going forward, there's a lot of people complaining.
O penalti, o primeiro falharam o penalti a primeira vez.
Não, marcaram.
E a segunda vez?
Falharam.
Quem?
Marcaram como? Como é que marcaram? Como é que marcaram? Mas marcaram diretamente ou marcaram off a rebound?
Yeah, he scored it, but he scored the rebound. Mas pronto, marcaram, yes or no?
Não, mas foi off a rebound.
But that's different, much different. Come on. Much different. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
Aí está.
Come on.
If he scored off a rebound, so then yes, that was the right call because he gained advantage because he was already inside the box.
Thank you very much.
It's common sense.
Thank you very much.
But hold on a second. Was it still retaken? Yes or no? Because the guy was off. Because the rules are, and we're going out to the rules. The rules are, if there's anybody in the box before the penalty is taken, it has to be retaken. So my point is,
Bruno,
if he scored or not scored, he's gonna go into a precedent. And now they're gonna have to have the players retake every penalty.
No, they don't. You can't go. You're overanalyzing it because you're seeing too much red. The attacking player benefited from an infraction, and that's why the penalty was taken. If he had scored the goal initially, I bet you that the referee wouldn't have had the penalty replayed.
Agreed.
Then what are we arguing about then?
But I'm just saying the rules are, because he did the rebound and he retook the penalty because there's people in the box. You're going to see going forward how many clubs are going to start arguing
Listen, not because there was people in the box, because the
But
player, the attacking player, benefited from
advantage.
that, gained
Yeah.
I
advantage from
understood that.
that, and
I
scored off
understand,
the rebound. It's different.
George. I understand that. I'm just saying, the rules are before the penalty is taken, regardless if it's made or not made, there should not be anybody in the box. And going forward,
But that doesn't happen. You know that doesn't happen. So I don't know why you're
oh,
even
it
arguing
happens.
about that.
It
You know that
happens
doesn't.
more
No,
than
it
one
doesn't.
time.
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
No.
but-
No. What I'm saying is, you know that those penalties don't get called back if there's somebody in the box and the penalty goes in.
If they score the first shot and the ball goes in, they're not gonna call it back.
What Bruno?
They-
Let me translate Bruno's language to our
No,
language.
no, no. I got it.
What Bruno's trying to say, if Benfica has a penalty and Benfica
No.
scores on the penalty,
No.
and if one of Benfica's players
No,
are in the
David.
box, then the penalty has to be retaken. That's
No,
the
that's not what I'm
translation.
saying. What I'm saying is, all right. So, example: if Alex Telles happened to score the penalty this past weekend with two Marítimo players in the box, my argument is it needs to be retaken because there can't be players in the box before the ball is struck. That's my argument. It doesn't
Okay.
matter if it's Sporting or Benfica. I'm talking about now they opened up a precedent. That's my problem.
Okay, but let's say the VAR was Bruno Freire, the VAR referee. It was you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you analyzing that play, the Ferenc Benfica game, the penalty, and you notice that the player que marcou na recarga was inside the box when the guy was taking the PK. Don't you think you have to tell your referee on the pitch?
Well, I don't. The rules are the rules.
Front,
But I'm saying,
because he's given it second chance to score the goal illegally because he was inside the box. Now,
front.
if somebody scores and players were inside the box, I don't think they'll cancel or make them take the penalty.
Oh, well, I've seen it in other leagues. That's why.
I've seen it too. But most of the times, I've seen so many goddamn games, and I've seen that violation all the time, and it never, for the vast majority of the time, it never gets called back. But in this aspect, in this specific play, I'm glad the referee called it because the player, and I'm not Benfiquista, but it's I'm a Sacre fan, and the player that benefited from the recarga, he gained an advantage because he was already inside the box. He was cheating.
Well, no, he wasn't cheating. It just caused an infraction. It was not a.
Well,
It was
that's
not a legal play.
Isso é cheating, não é? Então, é como espetares um
Vai-
cotovelo quando estás a saltar no focinho de alguém. É cheating.
Pronto. Okay. Portimonense and Sporting. Steph, do you have the lineups or no?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
You want me to say or you want to say it?
Podes tu?
Pá, não me importa, podes tu dizer. Já estás com a tesão toda.
Não, podes tu.
Porquê? Não queres falar dos jogadores de Sporting?
Go, man.
Okay, man. Okay, so goalkeeper Antonio Arang. Defense was Nuno Mendes, Pedro Porro, Luis Neto, Feral, Sebastian Coata. Then midfield with Mateus Nunes, Nuno Santos, Luciano Vieto, Pot, and then Tiago Tomas. And we played on a 3-4-3. And then for Marítimo, might as well say Marítimo as well. We had a goal. Portimonense, thank you. Samuel, Ilian, Koki Azai, Fali Kande, Lucas, good player, Daner, Mauricio Antonio, Ailton Boa Morte, Lucas Fernandes, Beto e Fabrício, another good player. So,
Estás a dizer o Lucas é bom jogador?
eu acho que sim.
Oh, o Lucas Fernandes.
Sim.
sim. No, I thought we were talking about the other one. Eles têm outro Lucas.
Yeah. Depois tem, mas aquele é o discípulo. Aquilo é da Bíblia Sagrada. Anyway, era padre e agora é jogador de futebol. Amen. So the first 20 minutes, Sporting played well, and we got the lead very early, and then Sporting dropped the lines. When they dropped the lines, you could tell that Juan Amorim was just trying to conserve the energies after the big embarrassing defeat at home contra Alask, Cuculos do caralho, and so the strategy worked out. We gave more possession to Portimonense, and they created a couple good chances, but not too many. But we held the lead, and we came out with the 2-0 lead, which I'm content with that. But the problem with our team is a very young team, so losing 4-1 against Lask, for example, against a more physical Austrian team, it just shows how fragile Sporting is. If they see themselves losing, they could lose by ugly numbers because it's such a young team. They don't have the experience, and the mentality is not strong enough to overcome certain situations. Just like on Thursday at home, by Liga Europa. And I like the team we have. We have to be patient. We could win. I can see we're going to win some good games and tough games. But if we start losing, we'll start making mistakes like we did, and it could be ugly. So I'm kind of talking about Portimonense Sporting and Sporting Lask just to make a comparison. Because it was basically the same team that played against Portimonense and played against Lask, and why would we lose 4-1 against Lask and we went 2-0 against Portimonense? Because we scored nice and early, and when we score nice and early for a young team, it's very important because they feel the confidence, they're winning, they're able to control the anxiety and be more focused. When they have to start running after a negative result, like contra Lask, that's when I'm afraid that I don't know if our team will be strong enough to overcome those kind of adversities. So I hope we start, every game winning. Because if it's not the case, it's going to be tough for such a young team. You look at the roster, and the oldest ones is Antonio Adan, Luis Neto, Ufedal, e Coates. Apart from that, it's a very young team, and Vieto is a little bit older. But Nun Mendes is very young. Mateus Nun Santos is fairly young. Upot young. So and our bench is very young too. Daniel Bragança, Vitorino Antunes. No, he's full of experience, of course. Gonçalo Plata, Tabat, Joelson Mendes.
What happened with Quaresma that he lost his spot in the starting lineup?
He had the COVID-19, so
okay.
He was quarantined, and Neto, he's been pretty consistent. And as a coach, I mean, you're a coach yourself in college. If a player is doing everything he's supposed to do and he's playing well, it's hard to switch him, to take him out of the lineup. So now Quaresma lost his spot, and now if he wants, he's got to regain it back, or he has to hope that Luis Neto gets COVID-19. Good night. So yeah, that's it.
All right. George, anything to add from this game?
No, not really. I mean, I really didn't get to see it. Just saw the highlights. But like Steph said, very young team. Going to need some time to gel. Now with João Mario, maybe help out in that midfield there. I still think they're missing. You're missing someone up front.
Good striker, yes.
You need a striker, a number 9, somebody that will. Slimani would have been a great pick if he wouldn't have been greedy and want to take the VMOX to the bank. But yeah, missing the striker, but a lot of young kids, a lot of talented young kids. So let's see what happens these next couple of games. But yeah, like Steph said, I think the kids relax a little bit more when they score first, rather than when they're scored against first, and the anxiety kicks in, the inexperience kicks in, and that's where the mistakes happen.
Yep.
So hopefully with the more games that they get in under their belts, they'll get a little bit more comfortable and be able to be comfortable being uncomfortable with the pressure of playing. I mean, the plus for these kids is that there's no fans in the stadium right now.
I was just
Because,
about to say that. I was just about
yeah.
to say that. Yeah, because once the
Because,
stadiums fill up, it's a different kind of
yeah,
play. Yeah.
once the stadium fills up, and especially at home, and you get the whistles and you get the clock pressuring you and stuff like that. That's when you're really gonna that's where the men are going to stand out from the kids. So, but listen, I love to see young Portuguese kids, players, coming up through the junior teams and up to the A teams. It's a great opportunity, especially for Sporting in the situation they're in. They need money, like everybody else, but it's a great opportunity to put the kids playing and develop them, and hopefully they're able to make a couple of sales. My personal opinion, the formation that Ruben Amorim plays in, it's not the best for a team with this age average. The three defender formation. It's a very difficult formation to play on, because you really have to cover a lot of space. Playing with only three defenders in the back, and with these young kids, with the pressure of being young and inexperienced, and on top of that having to deal with the technical aspect of playing in a three defender formation. I don't think it benefits them. I think it makes it harder for them. I think the three fullback formation is better in a very experienced team, where the players know how to cover their space well. So, just my opinion on the formation.
All right. We're gonna move ahead with we're gonna look at some of the transfers for this year, or this. Yesterday was a crazy day. Everyone was up in arms, ready to go. Let's start with you, Steph. Your club. Were you happy with the transfers or not so much?
I was happy with what we got, yes, but like George said, and everyone is saying the same thing. I mean, unless you deaf or you don't follow the Portuguese league, we didn't capitalize in getting a striker, and that's what we like. And when I say we didn't need a striker, there's several reasons why Sporting is to say that. O Tiago Tomás is not really, so to speak, ponta de lança de raiz. He's novo falso. So he's a good forward, but he's only 18, 19 years old. But so far he's proven that he's capable of handling the pressure without the fans. But he's accustomed to the fans because he came through the ranks of Sporting, iniciados juvenis, juniors, sub-23, and now the senior team. So he showed that he can handle the pressure. I don't know if you guys have watched him on flash interviews. He speaks well. He knows how to articulate. He's well spoken. So he's a kid that with a head on his shoulders. And then we have Sporar. Sporar doesn't. I still believe in him, but for some reason, Ruben Amorim, he doesn't really like him with his style of game. And then we have Luis Felipe, which he's like we thought he was going to be a great striker from Paços Ferreira, and then last year he scored 8 goals on something, which in a big club like Sporting, that's just not good enough. He needs to score double digits, and that's why we kept on saying that we need another striker, and we needed it. But Slimani would have been a great choice, but let's keep in mind he's 33 years old, and the money he was asking for which was 3 million euros clean, which is 6 million. So that's a lot of money. And that's what and then Premio de Assinatura, he wanted, I don't know how much. And for the first time, I agree with the Veranda's administration. Enough is enough. You can't spend so much money if the player and the agents they're not willing to give in. But to move on, I'm content with Pot. I think he's a great player. I'm content with Nuno Santos. I think he's a great player. I like Fedal. He brings a lot of experience. Pedro Porro, a lot of experience. Uh, and then Tabat, I like him too. But again, he was ours. He came back from Estoril, which was the revelation player at Estoril. Gonçalo Inácio, he was within our ranks. And Tunes, I like him too. Brings a lot of experience, and we're going to need him in some games. Um, and the last acquisition, which was João Mario, he comes back home. He could have gone to Torino, but he pressured Inter Milan to come back home. You know, and if you pay attention, you realize why he did that. He did that for two reasons, two main reasons. He knows Sporting Portugal very well in the Portuguese league, and he wants to play as much as he can. Why? Because next year, what do we have?
Euro.
Yeah, exactly. So he wants to play on a regular basis to see if he gets the call from Fernando Santos, because Fernando Santos is a fair coach sometimes. Because I don't know why Skater was called when Nuno Mendes is a baller and he's much better than Skater, which only played a few minutes and that's it. But whatever. Uh, but João Maria has a history with the Portuguese national team, and I think if he starts playing, if he starts gelling, I think Fernando Santos will call him because João Moutinho, great player. Don't get me wrong. As a player, I like him. As a person, I think he sucks. His character sucks. But he could easily, take his spot if he starts playing well. So I think that's the main reason why he came back to Sporting, and losing Wendell to Zenit for 20 million. That was a good piece of business, and we could get four more in bonuses. It was the proper thing to do to find a real, reliable replacement for Wendell, and I was happy with that. So overall, I think the signings we got were pretty good. The dealing of the signings not so good. It shows how Hugo Viana and Verandas are very amateur, because they paid 5 million for Pedro Gonçalves for 50% of the pass, and then they paid how much for Nuno Santos? 5 million, I think, or 6.5, and they gave Geralds and Dalla. So that's really really bad business, because when you look at the market values of those two players, they're not valued for that much. But that's what you get when you have people dealing with the big club and the amateurs. But besides that, the players themselves, they're pretty good. The dealing, they were pretty bad. I like Adin as well. Adin, I think he stole the spot from Maxi. But I mean, it's easy to see why. I mean, you could see his experience. You could see how he plays with his feet. He's and I love Maxi. Don't get me wrong, and I can meet Sporting. But if you ask me as a coach, who would I put between the posts? I would put Antonio Adan, because you could see that the guy respira de confiança, and he just gives the defense a lot of confiança. And that's it. That's all I got to say.
George. Oh, by the way, Steph, I don't know if you saw that question by Umlingas. Steph,
No.
question for you. Do you know when they are doing the makeup game with Gil Vicente?
I think they're talking about the end of October, since Sporting was eliminated from Liga Europa. It kind of freed the schedule for Sporting. So now they're trying to get together with Gil Vicente and Liga and come to an agreement. But they spoke about the end of October.
Okay. Yeah, another one. We got Misic back at the end of the transfer deadline. I know Munoz is very happy. That's probably going to be. He'll be saying that he'll be competing for the Golden Ball at the end of the season. We know how Malinga is. So
Mas not only Mexique, it was eight players that were signed at the last minute, and and look at it, that was a smart move. Se vão ficar lá, olha, vamos escrevê-los because you never know. You could have X amount of people getting the COVID-19, and now you have these extra players you could use. So
Yep.
that's pretty smart. Or people get injured all the time. Last year we made that mistake. We didn't register X amount of players, and Sporting they were in trouble for a little while. O Pedro
All right.
Mendes, lembra-se que a gente não tinha um striker e o Pedro Mendes estava arrestado. So they learned something finally.
Better late than never, right, George? Right, Steph?
Queres leite? Dat my love.
George, your transfer window, were you happy or not happy?
My transfer window. I think I was happy with my transfer window. I think we got some good players.
You moved some players.
Made some mistakes. Moved some young players. But
let's start talking about what you consider a mistake.
So you got to look at it from 2 points of view, right? You got to look at it from the fan perspective, and then you got to look at it from the club and from the player perspective, right? So from my perspective, I think moving Fiorentina was a mistake. I think that's a player that doesn't need any development. He just needs to play. He just needs to run, right? And I think in our midfield, we could use him. To be honest with you, when they told me at the end of the window, the last day that Weigl was almost leaving, that there was a chance that he would leave. Okay. I was hoping that he would leave. But on the other hand, I was saying, okay, but if he leaves, who do we have to play for him? Because Fiorentina's already gone. So who do we have? Samaris, he's not the same. So who do we have? So I think that's really the only player that really that I really wish that he could have stayed. Everybody else, I mean, I don't understand the Dantas loan to Bayern Munich. I understand the loan. I don't understand the option, the buyer option of 8 million. If it's true what is being said,
George, I mean that's clearly them saying that they don't believe in him.
Exactly, but he's the captain of our B team. Listen, 8 million right now is some freaking John Doe that nem convocado é para a equipa. 8 million now is a nobody. So if you don't want him, then you don't need to put a buyout clause. Just because you want him gone. Because if he does well at Bayern Munich, then you could sell him to anybody for 8 or 10 or 15 or whatever. I just don't get that.
Josh is saying the buyout option isn't real, but who knows? Well, I don't know what he really means by that, but okay.
I heard one of 8 million, then I heard another one of 15 million. So I don't know where the truth is, but it should definitely be something that's reported to the what's it called?
The CMVM. Now he does say, Josh does say that Benfica is lacking a true number 6. Do you agree with that? Yes or no?
What does he mean a true number 6?
I guess maybe a ball winner. I think that's what he's really referring to as a ball winner.
So a recovery player, a player that recovers balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to me it's Fiorentino. Fiorentino is the recovery player.
Yep.
I don't think Weigl is that guy. Gabriel is a little bit. Yeah.
Face-up type of player. So yeah, it's a guy that recovers balls, but I think that your best center defensive mid that you guys had was Florentino when he's gone. Clearly, Cabrera doesn't believe in him. So,
I mean, he believes in him because he didn't let him. He didn't let Urejas put a buyout option in the contract. But and he
He's
made
your
it
best
seem
center
like
defensive bid now. He's your best center defensive bid now. So obviously he doesn't believe in him, and the way things are going at Benfica, it doesn't seem like Caballero is going to be there very long anyway, because he's already talking about jumping ship. I'm not going to retire here. This, that, the other. He's definitely got his eyes on something else already.
Well, Caballero was waiting. He was hoping that Benfica, instead of 100 million, that Benfica would spend 200 million. But he's got to understand that we lost out on 50 million because of him. So he's not going to get all the players that he wanted this year. When he missed out on Champions League by losing to a third world team. So he needs to get that shit straight too. So we're in the position that we're in, where we had to sell our center back for a good amount, but we could probably have sold them for a larger amount because of him and all these players that have to go on loan and all that stuff. It's because of him, because we didn't qualify to the Champions League. But as a whole, look, Darwin Núñez, I like him. I haven't seen him score any goals, but he's definitely not selfish. He's very, very powerful, very fast for a guy as tall as he is. A lot of good skills. Sublinha, I think he's the.
Assist wise, I mean, he's not scoring goals, but he is assisting, and assisting.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. So I like that, and I think the goals will come. I think Sublinha, I think he's the best pickup, league wide. So we're good with that. Waldschmidt, I think he's a great player. Scored today for Germany. His first goal, was the best player on the field. Goal and an assist. Who else do we got?
You got Tudebo. I don't know if you can see it, George. What is your opinion on Tudebo? I personally rate him. That's by Josh.
Look, I think of it this way. If your defense is your foundation, right? It's like building a house. You can't put all the bells and whistles in the house, and then the foundation of the house is freaking toothpicks, because the house is going to fall, right? We needed a center back. Me personally, I don't think we needed a 20-year-old center back. I don't think we needed a center back that played some games in Germany and played a couple of games in Spain, and a center back that has been hurt a lot, and on top of that, a center back that we're paying 2 million euros for a 1-year loan. So to me, he wasn't the player. To me, if you're going to spend 2 million euros on a loan, then you pay 6 or 7 and you get Lucas Verissimo. Or you go out and you spend it on Smith, who is the player that Jota really wanted. It was Smith. So to me, I don't like him. I hear people saying that. I hear people saying that he's a really good player. Blah 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 blah. I don't think he's the player that we need. I think we need an experienced center back, and a 20-year-old is not going to cut it. If I need a 20-year-old, I have Ferro at 23, and I have a center back in our B team that we paid 8 million or 7 million euros for as an 18-year-old. So I don't need to go get another 20-year-old. I already spent 7 million euros on a fullback that's in the B team. So I don't understand that. Thoughts?
I don't know if you can see thoughts on.
Yeah, I can see
the drama. Go ahead.
Well, from what I was told today, Lucas Verissimo already has a pre-contract with Benfica to come over in the January transfer window. So it looks like it's a done deal for the January transfer window, all because Jorge Jesus went off on Luis Felipe Vieira when he found out that Porto was almost signing him. So that's my thought on that.
Steph, já começa a guerra.
That's my thought on that. But No, I think. Listen, I think it was a decent transfer window. I think we had to the deals, the loans we had to do is because of fair play. Obviously, we have to lower our salary sheet, our payroll. So we got rid of some players, and and let's see what happens
in
in
January.
January. I mean, I don't really think we really lost a lot of young talent. Like for example, Porto, which loaned out like 3 or 4 players, but you're only going to get one back. And you're losing. I saw a comment today that Olival is being burned because it's all the young talent is being shown the door. So I don't think that.
We'll talk about that in a second. We'll see who's right and who's wrong and all that right now. Just real quick, I don't know if Lucas will be going to Benfica or not because there are reports that he also signed with Porto for January. So it's going to be a wait and see type of thing because I really don't know what's going on there. Josh came in and said, I feel like we should have gotten Ruben Smith over to Debo. Though, I mean, Benfica doesn't have the money right now. That's the bottom line. I'm going to quickly go over Porto since you touched on it. I actually have it up. So I'm going to go into it. We got Marco Grujic on loan from Liverpool. What do I think about this player? I don't think much of him. I don't think that he's going to be anything extraordinary. Is he a good player? He's a decent player. Is he going to be a world-class talent? No, I do. Is he going to be an upgrade from Danilo? And motivated Danilo? No. Danilo that has already got his head somewhere else, then absolutely he's going to be an upgrade.
The loan, how long is it for?
1 year.
How old is he?
He's 24. No option to buy, which I'm okay with.
So what's his drive?
His drive is that he's going to be playing in Champions League.
What else?
And either it's basically like this. It's either boom or bust. You do well at Porto, you come back to Liverpool. You don't do well, then they're going to ship you out. And then maybe we get him at the price. Huh?
What's his nationality?
He's Serbian.
Okay, so does he play for the national team of Serbia?
He has not been presented at Porto yet because he is with the national team.
Okay, so that's okay. He's got a couple things driving him to do well. Okay,
we'll move ahead. We loaned out Gyökeres again, boomer bust. We put him out for free at Famalicão, and I think it was a good move. Do I agree with the Olivala's burning? No, I don't agree with that at all. Queiroz had a good season at Mouscron in Belgium, but a good season, not a great season. So that's the difference. Now he's gonna have to show his skills at Famalicão, and if he's a boom, they would come buy him back. It's a 50% buyback. If not, we let him go, and we got the preference on, or we got the money lowered on Martinez, and we got the preference on Assunção. So I'm okay with both ways. I think we won on that one. So I'm okay with that. We move ahead. Zé Luís, that to me was addition by subtraction. A player that was completely unmotivated to play, making the second highest salary at Porto. He goes back to Russia. We got some of our investment back. I think almost half of it back. So it is what it is. It was a total loss, but at least we got him off the books, and I'm happy with that. We move ahead. We got Nanu. I think Nanu is going to be another Manafa. A lot of speed, a lot of pace, a lot of quickness, a lot of power. But is he a big three player? That's the big question. I don't know if he is or not.
But isn't that why you have a coach?
He likes those players. He's not very strong.
What I'm saying is, sometimes we put too much the blame on this player or that player, but isn't the coach supposed to work on these players to make them better?
He makes him fit his system, which Manafá makes him. Listen, this past weekend, all I have to say is this: why did Porto win, or what is one of the reasons why Porto didn't win? Is very simple. If Manafá is your best player on the field, you're not winning games. Period. And that's exactly what happened. Manafá was the best player against Marítimo. We're not going to win a game if Manafá is your best player. I'll move ahead. We moved Jordan Osorio for $4 million. We made $2 million off of him, plus the loan last year to Zenit, so we made some money off of him. Tomasz Stivs, it's a loan with no option to buy, so he is coming back. He'll be going to the championship with the guaranteed playing time. Again, it's his opportunity to grow defensively as a player, because offensively he's very good. So defensively, we're going to have to see how he does, and I think he's going to come back a much better player than when he left. Alex Telles, is he a big loss? Absolutely. And when you're losing the league leader in assists for 4 straight years, obviously it's going to be a big loss. But at the same time, we made money off of him. He could have in January. He could have walked for free. I think Porto maybe change their policy. Maybe we have to start cashing in on some guys. Could he have gone for 40? Yeah, he could have gone for 40. He didn't want to resign though, or he did want to resign, but he wanted to resign with $4 million clean. That's not going to happen. I'll move ahead. Danilo to PSG. It was 2 years too late. That's basically how I look at it. Danilo's been dragging ass for the last 2 years. It's 2 years too late. This move, we still got 20 million out of it for a 29-year-old midfielder. 29-year-old. Let's not forget that. 29 years old. A lot of people are complaining about the price. I think it's a great price. Vai tu vida. Thank you for your work. Goodbye. Tony Martinez. This is the guy that I think I'm the one that I have the most dubious about, because I really don't know if he's going to be a big 3 player. He had a good season at Famalicão, but I don't know if he's going to be a good player at Porto. We'll have to wait and see. He's very accurate with the first time shot on the volleys, but other than that, I just don't see him being the striker that we need.
É bom de cabeça também.
Okay, Steph, I think he's just a regular player. I just don't.
But what are you expecting from our clubs when we lack of money? We have to buy within our league.
Claro, and it is what it is. I mean, he can't. Hey, listen, for what we got, for what we paid for, and what we're getting, is not that bad. But he ain't gonna turn the world on fire. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I can guarantee you that Martinez, Unanu, coming to a big club like Futebol Porto, they're gonna play their hearts out because they want to prove themselves.
Let's hope so. Vana moved to Famalicão on a free transfer. Goodbye. Fernando Andrade moved to Resort Sport. Goodbye. I don't think that was a bad loss. Sadi Yanko, we made money off of him to Real Valladolid. He's gone. Now we got Sar on loan. That was definitely one of the best loans that we've got with no option to buy. He can play center back. He can play left back. He's going to be coming in for Alex Telles, and he's going to be replacing Alex Telles. I think that was a very, very good loan. And of course, Felipe Anderson, I think that's another great player that we got. I think in Portugal, in our league, he's going to be very, very, very good. And I think he's going to have a nice connection with Ivan Nilsson. I think they're going to have there's going to be a lot of good players there. And I think Porto upgraded, honestly. I don't see how Nakajima is going to play. I just don't see where he's going to fit in the system. And some guys have to start producing, because if they don't, and if they play the same way they played against Marítimo, they're not going to play. Felipe Anderson is a guy that's going to be coming in, and he's 27 years old. He's been at Lazio. He's been at West Ham. I think he's going to be a very, very good player. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to look over through.
Don't forget Suarez.
You know what? We made money off a guy. $6 million off a 29-year-old striker. I think you.
Yeah, but you made money. You made money off a guy, 5.5 million. But he's been your best scorer the last 2 years.
But either that, he was going to leave for free in January.
But then that's your problem. Your problem is that you're letting your contracts all run
Não querem renovar.
towards
Mas
the
não
last
querem
year.
renovar.
That's the problem.
Well,
But that's where Corrupto da Costa is losing his touch, because before a player would want to sign with 2 years left in his contract, and he would have been sitting in the not even in the B team. He would have been in the bancada. What happened with Ferrer before he came to Benfica?
I agree.
But this is the problem. So there's two sides to that though, George. So let's say we want to bench a guy for 2 years. You're still paying the guy's salary for 2
But
years.
you're not gonna bench him for 2 years. That's what George is saying.
Well,
you bench him.
For 2 years.
You bench. No, hold on. You jump into conclusion. Take it easy, buddy. I know we're talking about your goddamn club. Take it easy. O Pinto Costa, what he was famous for was to castigar os jogadores, encostá-los, and then they would give in and sign the contract. Sporting just did it with Wilson Fernandes, encostou, and now they signed the contract for a cláusula de rescisão de 60 milhões, because his agents, they were playing, funny games, and Porto was known for that. Pinto Costa encostava e depois acabavam por assinar, because 2 years sitting on the bench, it's a long time. Within 2-3 games, they're already. The agent's like, okay, fuck it, let's sign the contract.
Steph, but you're missing one thing that Porto used to do that we didn't do. Pinto da Costa would unleash his pitbull on the players, Mr. Fernando Madureira, and they would either sign or they would be beat up in a discoteca somewhere in Porto, like Adriano.
E Sensei.
Isso
Seiyo.
Talvez naquela altura sim, mas agora isso já não fica.
Não, talvez não.
Hertha Berlin offered 20 million to Klopp and for Marco, and he refused to sell him. So they plan on bringing him back.
There's some kind of noise going on.
Got you, Bruno. Put some headphones on.
I don't have any. No, that's not it.
It is you. No, you're good. You're good now.
Okay. So that's pretty much it. I think it was a good one. I think Nakajima is a guy that's going to be sitting for a while. I think that guy is going to be put on the shelf for a long, long time because of what he did. And I don't think that Porto got over it. I don't think Sergio Conceição got over it. Man, he's going to be sitting around for a while, a long time. I don't think he's going to be playing at all.
Which I think it's a mistake, but anyway, it's like Ruben Amorim, Ritovski. I understand that coaches sometimes they get upset with players. I get it, but they have to come to the common sense that the club invested a lot of money and they have to make peace and find a way to resume the relationship, because now Porto is the one who stuck with the player with a pretty large salary, and he's not playing because he's upset with Conceição. Somebody has to come in between and fix the problem, because Sporting is actually trying to do that for Ritovski, Ruben Amorim, and that's a good move because it's a lot of money invested.
We'll see. Look, I think Porto had a really good transfer market. I think they made over 100 million euros between this year and what they're going to collect next year. And I think they got really good players from the domestic market. I think I love that kid Nanu. What's the kid's name from Santa Clara? Bruno? Zaidu, yeah, I like him a lot too.
But I tend to agree with Bruno. I don't know if they. We shall see. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they're equipped to play on a big team.
I haven't seen anything from Zaidu yet. He's played 2 games, and he didn't impress me at all.
We'll see.
I like the players, and I think it's one of those cases of what do you say, a cost versus risk. I think it's low cost.
High risk.
So
low cost, low risk.
Low risk. So it's one of those. What was the kid's name from? What was the guy's name from Stubble a few years ago that you bought him for like 700,000 euros? and then in 6 months you sold them for like 30 million. It's those cases where you can have a breakout season in the Champions League, and then you see these players that you bought for 4 or 5 million and you sell them for 20, 25. So I like that. I like that. And I like my Benfica. That was the fifth team in Europe that spent the most amount of money. We spent more money than Bayern Munich and PSG. Let's see what our return is going to be.
Well, they didn't have to spend that money. That's why they did.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Bayern Munich had the luxury of letting Thiago Alcantara go.
And they still playing in amazing ways. So
yeah, I mean, they just said we really don't need you.
The club that surprised me in a positive way was Chelsea. They bought every single player.
Everybody,
way before the market was about to close, and that's called a great job by the scouting department. When you buy the players way before the closing day of the market, that's an amazing job, and that
Chelsea spent 200. Chelsea spent €250 million in transfers this season.
They got money, They got
money.
Well,
they haven't. They've been unable to spend money for a couple of years. I think 2 years.
Yeah.
So they've had money.
Not the fair play. They were punished for signing underage players.
Well, yeah, but they've been with the inability to spend some money. So, now they had money saved up. They'd splashed the market.
They had money in the piggy bank.
Well, yeah, and that's that. I mean, they got some money to play with, but there's other players that moved in the Portuguese league as well. We're not just going to talk about. I mean, Braga let go of what's his name? Now I can't think of it. He was a right winger. He played at Sporting, he played at Porto, and then he went to Braga.
Os Gaio?
Não, o outro. Man.
Os Geraldes?
No, I'll get back to him. It'll come into it. Brun says it's signed with Penafiel, Steph, at 31 years old. I'm sure you remember him.
But não é só Steph, é Steph e Jorge, jogou também no Benfica.
Tá. Diogo Viana was released by Braga. Chadas went over to Moscron from Braga on loan. Chris Willock went to Queen's Park Rangers. We had Thiago Dantas that went to Bayern Munich too. Fabio Coentrão went to Rio Ave, so he took a year off, and he is back.
Tá a precisar de dinheiro.
Diego Souza was released by Benfica and went to Famalicão.
Yep, he went to Famalicão. Miguel Luiz went from Sporting to Vitória Guimarães. I think that's an interesting move.
Interesting move. We gave him for free.
Front, but it was a good move for Miguel Luiz.
Yeah, for him, yeah. But Sporting gave him for free, and we kept 50% of the pass, and we didn't make one penny. And this guy is regularly called for the sub-21 team. So Rui Jorge calls him all the time. Sporting não vale piece. There's something I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
O teu amigo Jefferson voltou para Casa Pia, Steph.
Vai lá piar.
Vai ser entradas por trás, não te esquece.
Vai lá mostrar como é que conduzir a mão.
É a mão, olha.
Tem qual?
A maneta.
À esquerda, a maluca.
A maluca. Ola John left from Guimarães. He went to Walwijk in Holland. Those were some good moves for some teams. Boa Vista did get somebody else. I don't remember who it was. It was a named player, but it was he's one of these washed up guys that everyone is trying to make Boa Vista a big team.
Boa Vista is a good team to play for 45 minutes e depois vai-se abaixo das canetas.
Pois. O teu amigo Rocher também foi para o Besiktas, Steph.
O Rocher?
And CMTV alert, Cavani finally signed with Manchester United.
Mas foi por empréstimo do Benfica.
Foi para o vermelho, mas foi para o vermelho errado. Foi emprestado para o Benfica.
O Rosier custou ao Sporting 8 milhões.
O Gil Dias foi do Mónaco para o Famalicão. Fábio Martins left from Braga, went to Shabab in Saudi Arabia. There was
Shababa.
one of the best players in the Portuguese league last year, and he is now in Saudi Arabia.
Foi
Believe
atrás do
that.
dinheiro. Foi atrás do
he
dinheiro.
He said that
Oh,
he said that he couldn't. He said that he couldn't turn away that deal, and he
Oh.
thanked Antonio Salvador because what he's going to make there in 1 year, he wouldn't make in Portugal in 10 years. Those were his
Exactly.
exact words.
Exactly.
But at the same time, they really didn't give him an opportunity.
É como
I
o
mean,
Hulk.
Braga told him that they weren't going to count on him.
É como o Hulk. O que é que o Hulk foi fazer para a China?
Para ganhar dinheiro, pá, estás
Pois,
maluco?
mais nada, porque tu vês algum jogo da China?
Eu não.
Eu também não.
Mas Steph, mas aí estás errado porque tu tens que te lembrar. O Hulk começou no Japão.
Eu sei que começou no Japão, mas ele quando saiu do Porto e foi para a China foi por causa do dinheiro, mais nada.
Ele não foi para a China, do Porto. Ele foi para a Rússia do Porto. Foi para o Zenit Petersburg. E depois foi transferido do Zenit Petersburg para a China.
Buscar ainda mais dinheiro. Sim, tens razão. Sim, isto e meia boss tapa.
Mas ele já estava a pensar que ia pinar a sobrinha da mulher e agora tinha que lhe dar 15 milhões de euros para o divórcio e já teve que ir lá fazer dinheiro.
Pois, ele é um pinador de primeira.
Divorciou-se agora e juntou-se com a sobrinha da ex-mulher.
Mas ficou em família. Ficou em família.
Ele assim, deixa-me tratar dela antes que o Pinto da Costa ainda apareça aqui com 80 anos e ainda também queira essa também.
Pergunta aí, Jorge, mostra aí o teu cotovelo. Deixa eu ver o teu cotovelo. É que dor da cotovelo, foda-se.
Não.
Dor de cotovelo, está calado. All right.
Isso vou ali para a ferro restrito, que isso é o que há mais lá.
Mas tu imaginas o Hulk quando ele se enerva, aquilo é músculos por todo lado.
Agora vai ter a sobrinha, tem que ter cuidado, né?
Coitada da moça.
Ele quando dá aqueles nervos, começa logo a crescer uma terceira perna. Ei, caralho! Vamos
All right,
a onda.
we're gonna go wrap this up because we're already at minute 26 or 1 hour and 26.
And I gotta go home. Yeah.
Portugal versus Spain. George, what'd you think of the game?
We got murdered the first half. We evened things out in the second half. We had two balls that were unsavable that hit the post. So I think the tie was and
justified.
Also, take it in consideration that we have another game on Sunday, and an actual game that counts. So we had I think we made 6 substitutions, and I think on Sunday we play France, right? That won 7-1 today against the Ukraine. So and that's going to be a real game for the Liga Nos Nações. So nuestros hermanos can't say crap about us. Club Orensano was very calm today.
Foste ver o jogo lá?
Hell no. Queres que eu vá para o hospital da universidade ou quê? Lá com aqueles galegos todos, you crazy?
E ainda tinha o cu, oh, caralho.
Foi.
E falava-te em espanhol. Oh, pá, está calado.
Nuestros hermanos.
Lá no estádio de Corte Banho. Anda lá.
Steph, what did you think of the game?
I didn't really see it, but I saw the highlights, and like George said, apparently Spain dominated Portugal the first 30 minutes, and the last 15 minutes of the first half equilibraram lá a coisa, and the second half duas bolas ao posto, uma do Ronaldo e a outra já não sei quem foi. Do you remember, George? Who was the other one?
Renato Sanches.
Oh, isso mesmo. E depois
o nosso Hulk Jr.
Yeah.
The guy that can't make a pass.
Depois
I think he missed every pass.
O João score off a header of Ruben Semedo. He missed it, and nobody. I mean, everybody's like, "How the hell could he miss that?" Hey, it was a fast play. But I'm not going to jump on the wagon of deportistas and sportingistas. 120 milhões para jogador que falha assim. Isso acontece a todos. Portanto, não vou nessa
Já está a falhar demais.
nesse bullshit. Nah, I mean, I don't like that. I think it's stupid. He's playing with the national team, não tem nada a ver com isso.
Pronto.
And the big thing to talk about, which I think it was the most important thing about the game, is the Portuguese National Federação e a Federação da Espanha assinaram um protocolo para o Mundial 2030. So
we put in a bid. It will. We put in a bid for the World Cup for 2030.
I think that's a good move. Yeah.
Portugal and Spain.
Portugal and Spain together. I think that's a great move, and it would bring a lot of money to both countries. I hope
think the other ones. So I think it's Portugal and Spain. It's Morocco, and it's another one. That's 2 countries. I forget who it is right now. I'll get it next show.
If that's our competition, then we got it in the pocket. It's not going to be Morocco. Portugal, we got the Champions League.
Mas espera aí.
No estado da Luz e no estado de Portugal.
Portugal, Espanha querem fazer Marrocos. Então em Lisboa é logo ali, pá.
O que é que estás a falar, meu? Já estás
a talking about Willis?
Já estás a desconversar, como sempre.
Por baixo. You go down the Rio Mondego, já é Marrocos, pá.
Epá, não, acho que é mais, mas é para cima, para o Rio Douro, aquela Marrocos lá.
Ouve lá, a Sónia está acordada. Se calhar tens que ir acordá-la para te medir a temperatura. Estás com febre, meu. Para quem não bebe álcool, foda-se, até para estás bêbado.
Marrocos é lá do Rio Mondego para baixo.
É, deve ser. É. E a tua prima é peluda. Anda, fala.
E foi peluda.
Não sei, nunca vi. Anda, a parte de baixo.
All right. I didn't watch the game. As always, I could care less about the Portuguese national team because they
just... Até não fales, pronto, acabou a tua opinião. Segue.
That's it?
Pronto, não é preciso. If you don't care, why are you going to talk about the national team?
Did I even give my opinion on the game? I don't even know. It was 0-0.
Pronto, acabou. You want to talk about the 4th round of the Liga Nos?
No, I want to talk about the Europa League.
Draw.
Dá-lhe, Jorge.
Não tenho nenhum interesse nessa merda, portanto, dá-lhe, Jorge. Já fomos.
Grupo do Sporting, FC Sofá. FC
não.
Não.
O grupo Sporting é Varandas, filha da puta, Viana, incompetente do caralho, todos os sócios que votaram nessas merdas.
FC 14 milhões. FC 14 milhões.
Epá, perder contra um Lasco com uma equipa que não tem historial nenhum, até custa-me acreditar, mas é verdade. Mas anyway, fala lá no teu Sporting, Lisboa e Benfica.
So who do we have in our group? I think Standard Liège, right? We have Rangers, and who's the other one? I forgot what the other one was.
Well, Benfiquista do caralho este.
Não, isto aqui está no papo, não dá para saber o nome das equipes.
É o Estarreis, é FC.
Let me see, deixa-me ver aqui quando
eles queriam um clube desses.
O Estarreis, é FC.
O Estareja, o Santa Clara,
o Penafiel,
o Braga.
Não, mas it's a doable group for Benfica. Então, disseste o Rangers?
It better be. What the fuck?
Well, the Rangers is one of the best clubs in Scotland. And you said who else?
Rangers is not. That's not an easy game. O Porto acho que perdeu lá também uma passada, não foi?
Não.
Isso foi
não. A sério?
Isso foi há 4 anos, ou caralho. Foi há muito tempo.
O Lech Poznan?
Acho que não.
E nem tu eras casado, ou caralho, quando o Porto perdeu.
Acho que foi o ano passado.
O quê? Com quem?
Com o Rangers? Não.
Rangers, Listen,
yeah, it was.
Rangers are not an easy team, bro.
No, they're not. They're not
Ask
at all.
Braga.
They're
ask
It was
not.
last year. It was last year, right, bro?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was last year.
foi.
And they tied at Estadio Dragão.
So we play Benfica. So it's Benfica, Standard Liège, Rangers, and Lech Poznan.
That's an easy game. So
That's our
I
group.
think, yeah. Maybe,
If they go there with that attitude, you're gonna see what's gonna happen.
claro. O Benfica tem a obrigação de passar o grupo em primeiro lugar. Sem sombra de
And then we
dúvida.
got,
Com o investimento
and
que
then-
fez, por amor de Deus.
and then we have Braga. Braga is going to be Braga against Leicester City, AEK Athens, and Zoraya Luhansk of I think it's the Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Okay. So
The
the
Ukraine,
most,
I mean, that's going to be a tough game because it's on the road. The second one was Leicester's going to be difficult, obviously.
claro.
And who's the other ones? AEK. They
AEK.
can beat. They can
Yeah.
beat them. They can beat them.
Yeah, they could. They should be able to. Braga's a good team. They'll overcome the first two losses, which they did last week in 4-0.
Podia ser mais.
I gotta tell you, dude, these teams are really, really weak. These groups,
Yeah.
really.
Well, right now,
O Porto
Yeah,
é
right
que
now.
não. O Porto é que é o grupo da morte. When I saw the names, I was like, holy shit.
Finally, a hard group for Porto. Tem mais mídia que
Oh, it's a tough group, man. Marseille, não é? O Marseille. Mas quem? O Bruno, tu sabes qual é?
Olympiacos and Manchester City.
Well, there it is. Olympiacos, it's not easy. O Pedro Martins knows Porto quite well. And,
We know him too.
Hã?
We know him too.
Oh, sim. Tens o bilhete de identidade dele?
O tamanho das cuecas, tudo.
É, não sei. Tens também das cuecas. As paneleiras.
já encomendei as minhas 3 camisolas.
Excelente.
Olympiacos, Marseille e Manchester City.
Desde pequenino, não é?
Desde pequenino. Desde o berço.
Jorge, não esqueças de uma coisa. O Porto has beaten last 6 games, Marseille 5 out of last 6. The other one was a draw.
Não, mas tu estás a falar de peito cheio, porque sabes que no Marselha está lá o teu próximo presidente, esse não vai só baixar as cuecas, vai baixar as calças, as cuecas, vai pôr a vaselina e já vai abrir lá para
Não. O Vilas Boas vai fazer uma coisa.
Agora que vais sentir o que o Abel faz com você.
Olha, Jorge, ouve-me com atenção. O Vilas Boas vai fazer uma coisa que vai ser única. It's going to be very special. It's called a bukkake. Ele vai convidar os jogadores de Porto a um bukkake, meu. It's a Japanese word to our listeners. Just Google it. You'll be impressed.
No, that's going to be a hard game. Porto could win the group, or Porto could go home.
Yeah,
without even going to the
that could be anybody in that group. That could be anybody in that group.
I think Porto has the upper leg on the Olympiacos. They should at least be able to finish third. But for the sake of the Portuguese ranking, thanks to Sporting Clube Portugal, we're not going to be able to help. So I'll take all the negativity because we deserve it. But I'm hoping that Benfica at least makes a group stage and Porto as well, and they can go as far as possible. And of course, if they get all the way to the final, I hope both teams lose.
It's fucked up.
Mas pelo menos chegas a uma final, tens a taça de papel.
É normal. Para eles é normal.
Já perdemos 2 ou 3, não preciso perder outra.
Mais que isso. O Benfica, para minhas contas, acho que vocês já foram 11 finais a combinar com a UEFA.
Não, perdemos.
Com a UEFA?
Com 10, I think.
10 or 11? I'm combining the Champions League and the Liga Europa.
Pronto, 10. I think it's 10.
Which is a lot, anyway.
That we lost? More
that you lost.
More than that.
You only won 2, né? Aquelas taças de barro que estão dentro das vitrines que ninguém
Yeah,
pode tocar,
you
senão
wish.
aquela merda,
You wish.
é
Wish.
self-destruction.
O conta é a taça latina, pá. Tu não sabes nada disso.
Pois. Toca lá. Essa taça latina.
A
Os
taça
benfiquistas,
latina, isso é conta, pá.
os benfiquistas, quando falam nessa taça latina, faz-me rir, porque assim, aquele gajo tem 2 neurónios, de certeza absoluta. A taça latina serve para alguma coisa. Para cagarem lá em cima dela, está bem. Oh, meu Deus do céu, a taça latina.
A taça latina, tu não sabes. Isso vale mais do que 5 Liga dos Campeões.
Tá, não é?
E as duas Champions? Isso não conta por nada, pois não?
Conta, claro, conta.
Com 8
claro,
equipas,
conta.
yes, I agree.
Não, isso não interessa, Bruno. Isso não interessa. É
No
como
tempo
tu
da
dizer...
pedra, ó, Steph,
não, 80 pedra, caralho. Não. Ganhou fair and clean. Eles ganharam contra equipas de gabarito.
Quantas Ligas de Campeões já que tem o Real Madrid?
13.
Então, e quantas já que foi desse tempo também?
Pois,
Exato.
Ok.
Mas mereceu. Atenção. Não, eu não concordo com o Bruno de maneira nenhuma. Porque se a gente formos falar assim, então o Porto também... Qual foi a primeira taça que o Porto ganhou?
Em 1987, a Liga dos Campeões.
Ok, e o sistema era quê? 2 pontos por jogo?
Não, era o Botafora.
E não era na group stage?
It was not Champions League.
Então pronto, estás a ver, era diferente também. Se não fosse assim, talvez não passasse. We can go and dwell on stuff like that.
I know, but the format now is much harder, Steph. You agree or disagree?
Now?
Now is much harder.
No, it's not. Now it's all about making money, my friend.
No, but what I'm saying, the format's much harder. The field went from 8 to 32.
Yeah, I know, but it's groups of 4. It's groups of 4.
But the problem is, when you do a group stage like that, you're giving teams time to get themselves together. The bigger clubs take some time to form and gel. And that's what the Champions League was all about. Because before, when it was the other knockout, these clubs, the bigger name clubs, were getting knocked out early because they weren't gelled yet.
No, but Bruno, you're missing the point, because now the group stage, it's all about making money. When you get to this round of 16, it's knockout stage as well.
Yeah, but it's 2 legs.
The group stage was created to give more opportunities to more teams in more countries. That's why. Because Europe
that's not the case.
No, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, of course it is. Europe become let me finish.
From the top 4,
let me finish. Europe become more civilized, and they said, hey, let's spread the wealth to all the countries we have in the European community, and that's how it's built. I'm not agreeing with the ranking of the UEFA, because why is England being given five teams in the Champions League? I don't agree with that. For me, it would be better. I understand the quality of the leagues are better, and they'll give better teams to the Champions League. But for me, it should be the champions of each country, which we know it's not going to happen, because they're looking for quality and not the champions of each country. Because Champions League should be the champion of Portugal, Spain, every single country in Europe. But that's not the way it is. You have champions of, let's say, Belgium. I don't think they have one que qualificou diretamente. They still had to go on a playoff game.
But, Steph, what I'm trying to say is, it's not fair. The way they changed the format now is the top 4 leagues, which is England, Spain.
It's Spain,
Italy,
England,
and Germany. Italy and Germany. They get 4 direct.
Yes.
4 direct.
Mm-hmm.
How is that fair to the?
It's not.
Switzerland, the champion of Denmark.
But I wasn't talking about the ranking. We're talking about the group stage only. Agora estás a confundir alhos como galhos. Atenção. Because what I'm saying is, o Benfica quando ganhou, they were playing against the best teams in that era, and they deserved to win. They went to a lot.
And we had the best team. We had the best team in the world back then.
You guys had pretty decent teams back then.
The best team, because you never won the World Cup. You never won. the Intercontinental.
Não
Cup.
existia naquela altura.
Como não existia. Perderam
Claro
todos
que
eles,
não.
existia.
Claro
Yes,
que
it did.
não.
Yes, it did. We lost against Santos. Pelé
Santos não
Santos.
tinha all.
Mas não tinha tanto prestígio como tem agora.
Oh, foda-se, não tinha.
Oh,
Não
não.
tinha.
Não.
Por amor
Não.
de Deus.
Queres
Não
comparar the clubs cups com aquela taça que não vale nada? Oh.
No taça não vale nada?
Ah pá, valia,
Tá maluco, ok?
tinha o seu valor, mas não era assim por ali. Oh.
Are you kidding me? Back then that was 2 games. One in Europe and one in South America.
I'm talking about in 1960s. That's when Benfica won.
Ok.
Eu não estou a falar.
Foram ao Brasil, levaram 5, o que é? Lá do Pelé.
Ok, levou 5, mas a gente está a falar nas taças que o Benfica ganhou. Ganharam 2, pronto. And they could have won more, they didn't. O Porto ganhou sempre que foi à final, não foi?
Praticamente, o único que não perdeu foi contra
uma Supercopa.
As Juventus, lá como foi, roubo. And then they had the Super Cups, the European Super Cups that we've lost.
Okay.
One to Valencia, one to Barcelona.
Pronto. And that's it. I mean, o Sporting ganhou a Taça das Taças com o Cantinho de Moraes in 2 games, and we went to we lost the final at home in 2000.
Taças Latina Part 2?
Não, é Taça da Taça.
Não era uma grande coisa.
Se vais falar pouco da Taça das Taças, bom, agora estás-me a tirar o direito também de fazer pouco das tuas taças de barro. Pronto.
Não,
então, há que ter um bocadinho de consenso, porque foi ganho na mesma altura que o Benfica ganhou. Porque se a Taça das Taças, vocês benfiquistas dizem que não tem nenhum valor, a vossa também perde valor, porque foi mais ou menos na mesma altura. E o Braga tem uma Intertoto, para mim também conta.
E quem é que ganhou esse?
O Braga, com o Jorge Jesus.
Oh, okay.
It was to qualify to
Europe.
Yeah.
Europa League.
It was kind of a weird playoff style.
It was.
It was good. It was cool.
You had to sign up for it. You had to register for it.
Yeah.
And when you registered for it, you would have to go through this whole preseason tournament, basically. Mm-hmm. And the only way to get in it was win it, and there was 3 winners from 3 different groups.
Yeah, lower tier teams.
So it is what it is. Here it is. Of course, it had to be a Benfiquista to say something like this. Club World Cup is a tin pot. Of course, it's a tin pot because you don't have one. Because if you had one, it would have been the best in the world. É como a Taça Latina, já te disse, a Taça Latina para ele vale mais que 5 Ligas dos Campeões.
Bruno, the Campeonato do Mundo de clubes it's worth much more to the South American team that wins the Libertadores than the European team. Liverpool last year played with almost their freaking sub team. They had a game 2 days before. To Brazilian teams and Argentinian teams, that trophy is way bigger than the Libertadores, way bigger than any other trophy. To the European teams, they travel from their country and they play like 2 days later.
But Jorge, mas vais-me tu dizer e o nosso viewer que agora pôs este comentário foleiro que se o Benfica ganhasse essa Copa, vocês não ficariam contentes? Não ficariam contentes?
Estaria na ferra e apanhava a bedeira por 2 ou 3 dias, claro que sim.
Mas aí é que os benfiquistas têm que ter cuidado. Quando criticam...
Não, mas espera, não é criticar, é que nós, benfiquistas, benfiquistas...
It is a tin pot. Ask any European club; they don't count it. Yes, they do count it.
No. Can I say something? Go ahead. Barcelona maybe doesn't count it as much. Real Madrid maybe doesn't count it as much. Liverpool doesn't count it as much. A Porto, a Benfica, which is a second tier European team. I'll say it. We're second tier. We're not one of those major teams. For us, it's worth more than those other teams. Those other teams rather have a Champions League than a World Cup of clubs. It's the truth. It's reality.
But to get there, you need to win the Champions League, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So, with that said, when I saw os clubes que tu falaste, o Real Madrid e o Barcelona, jogaram nesse torneio, jogaram sempre com a melhor equipa. Se não fosse tão importante,
No,
jogaram,
no.
jogaram. I said,
Yeah,
No, never.
George, come
No.
on. They played the final.
Oh,
They played
yes.
with the team.
Oh, yes, they play with the A team all
They
the
played with the A
time.
team all the time.
All the
They
time.
didn't play well. They didn't play well,
They
but
played
they
enough.
played them.
They played enough. And why? Because that counts for many things. Tu vais agora no Google Ronaldo e está lá no palmarés dele. É porque conta, não é? Não, as pessoas quando falam têm que ter cuidado, porque quando o vosso clube lá chegar e ganhar, depois vão ter que comer merda. Os comentários que fazem, depois levam com esse comentário na tromba. E os benfiquistas são populares por isso. Vindo à festa, e depois tiveram que engolir, né? Pronto, é só um exemplo que a gente está a dar. Take it easy, guys.
No, but Steph, it wasn't only like that because when Porto won the Taça UEFA, it says não sei o quê, segunda divisão da Europa. But then when they got there, já queriam todos a ganhar, né?
Who said that? Who said that? Nobody says that. You just come up with you just come up with like BS.
I have many Benfiquistas that used to say that was the second is at a Taça da segunda divisão.
That's people that they don't understand soccer.
Não, mas atenção que é.
But they would say it.
Mas por acaso até é. Qual é a prova mais importante?
Champions League, no doubt about it.
And then second, Liga Europa, because we do the same thing in Portugal. What's the most important competition in Portugal?
Yeah, the league.
And then second.
And the Taça de Portugal.
Pronto, it's the same thing. There's nothing wrong in saying that, but I know what you're saying, but when they say that to diminish the accomplishment of a club, that's when it gets on your nerves. And I get that. Because how can you say, hey, o Porto só ganhou a taça da Liga Europa e o Bruno tem razão. A gente tem 7, atenção, e vocês têm 2. E a conversa devia acabar aí automaticamente.
But what I'm saying is they like to diminish. Like Josh here has been diminishing the World Club Cup, right? Or the Intercontinental Cup. The Intercontinental Cup, yes, George to some degree is correct. The South Americans put a lot more emphasis on that than the Europeans. But there are some European clubs that did compete for it and they didn't win it. Because the last team that won the Intercontinental Cup was Porto in 2004. After that, they changed the format. But prior to that, Porto was the team that actually swayed the advantage to the European side versus the South American side because they were tied with the amount of times.
Because at the time, it was only the Europeans against the South Americans.
Claro.
See,
it was just that.
Yeah, now it's done in a more fair way. They include all the champions of all the continents.
Claro.
And it gives everyone a chance, even though we all know that the final will be most likely from Europe and South America. Everybody knows that. But
there's 2 other games that the other teams play instead of the Champions League winner and the Libertadores winner. The Champions League winner automatically goes to the semifinals.
O campeão da Ásia e o campeão lá do.
Well, they play other eliminatórios. The Champions League winner and the Taça de Libertadores winner, they automatically go to the semifinals. They start at the semifinals.
Yeah, that's it. Which I think is a fair, better format. It gives everybody a chance. Even an underdog could maybe win it, but most likely not.
Well, and that just changed. It was supposed to be this year. Now it's I think it's like 16 clubs now or something like that.
Yeah.
Now it's a different format now.
6 clubs.
No, it's more now. No. It just changed. It's a bigger tournament now.
But this is why it
was supposed to start this year.
This is why the argument from the Benfica fan it doesn't gain any relevance. Because when we have most of the time the Europeans winning that club, it's because they're playing their best players. They're not joking about it. They want to win the cup because it's all about prestige. E o prémio de jogo, que aquilo também vai dar o dinheiro aos jogadores. Pensas que não?
All right, guys. We're on 1 hour and 53 minutes.
Yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta go. Steph's gotta go home. And
before I get divorced.
Ainda contas do teu primo lá, foda-se.
Não, depois vou viver com os Jorge. Vou viver com os Jorge.
We could stay here all night discussing soccer, but
Depois eu vou viver com os Jorge.
All right, guys, we'll be back next week. We'll talk about the Nations League match between Portugal versus France, and then we'll talk about the Week 4 preview, and then we'll take it from there. All right,
we're good. We're cool.
Okay,
all right, guys. Once again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click like. Make sure you share with your family and friends about our podcast, and we'll take it from there. Guys, thank you very much.
Bruno,
Have a good week.
olha, tá sujo, olha aí.
Yeah.
Aí.
Olha, tchau, Laura.